In this video, I'm going to share with you how to start a speaking business and, more importantly, the one thing that you must do so that you actually love your business instead of growing to hate it. This is going to be a juicy one, promise. So you want to start a speaking business. Yay, I'm so excited for you. I love speaking. It is a glorious profession where you get to share your gifts with the world, uplift and inspire people, educate, transform. It's a very wonderful, beautiful career. And it can be challenging to do as a business. I've seen so many people try to do speaking as a business and struggle or shut down right away or burn through cash and rack up debt. So what I'm going to share with you in this video is the 3-part stepwise framework that I use with my own clients and with myself in order to build a business that's not only sustainable and scalable, but is also something that you're going to love and enjoy for the long haul. So the first part that you need to think about when you're starting a speaking business is what is going to be your message. As a speaker, your message ultimately is pretty much the most important thing you've got. And so I've seen people all the time start speaking businesses, but they're pulling their message or learning their message or appropriating or adopting their message from someone else. In no other business, hardly, is it more important for you to have a unique message that's yours and that's especially aligned with who you really are, with your story, your gifts, and your strengths. So the first thing that you have to do is build your brand. And you're really going to build your brand around this message that you've got. Now, you can build your message around a couple different things, and definitely you want to, what we say in the business, pick a lane, right? You cannot be all things to all people. And gone are the days where you can just call yourself a motivational speaker and, get a whole bunch of speeches. No, people don't really necessarily want to hire motivational speakers anymore. Now, they do want to hire speakers who are motivational. That's a distinction. But really, the business has moved into the direction where you need to be an expert in something. You need to be able to deliver some sort of outcome to the audience you want to deliver that outcome to. And you got to look at whether you want to be a corporate speaker, an association speaker, whether you want to speak to consumers. These are all things that you want to consider upfront as you're building your speaker brand. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a few other videos that I've done that you may want to go and binge watch to help you with your branding. Remember, a speaker isn't really a speaker. A speaker is really a thought leader. So you want to brand yourself and position yourself as a thought leader around this message. Now, one of the things that's really helpful to do in order to attract more business, to be highly referable as a speaker, and to basically have longevity in the business is to narrow your focus on either a niche audience or some sort of niche offering. So when you focus on an audience, you might say be a leadership speaker for the financial and banking industry. So now you're a leadership speaker, which is very general, but you're focusing in on this specific audience or this market. Another thing you can do is to focus on a broader market, but you have a very specific topic. My message is an example of a niche message that applies to multiple audiences. I teach people how to brand themselves as superstars in their industries. And because I have a narrow focus of what I teach, I can teach that to realtors, I can teach that to bankers, to speakers, to authors, coaches. So I can diversify the audiences because I have a very specific message. Now, there are also people that have a very specific message for a specific audience, and those are some of the best speakers around that do the best. So one example is this guy, Phil M. Jones, and he teaches magic words, influential sales words, and he teaches it to a variety of different industries. Teaches it to entrepreneurs, to salespeople, to leaders in business, all sorts of people who need to learn how to be more influential. So that's the first piece, is building your brand as a speaker. And like I said, I have a lot of videos on these topics. One of them is what is personal branding and why is it important? And another video is how to brand yourself as a thought leader. Okay, so the second key component of starting your speaking business is what's your business model? Now, a lot of people get into speaking and they think, okay, well, there's only really one business model for speaking. You put yourself out there and people hire you to come in and get on their stage and speak. That is a very traditional speaking model. It's called you get paid to speak. It's a pay to speak model, meaning someone hires you and pays you up front and you get paid before you speak. Another model that's up and coming more, that's gaining popularity inside the organization, the National Speakers Association, which I'm a member of, is this speak to sell model. So if we have the paid to speak model, and this model is the speak to sell model. Now in the speak to sell model, really speaking becomes just a marketing strategy or a vehicle to sell something on the back end. Now, I love this model, and I'll tell you a couple reasons why. First of all, because in my own personal story, I did this for a while and I got really burnt out on the traditional speaker model, on getting paid to speak. I was constantly hustling gigs, constantly having to follow up with clients and write proposals. And personally, I didn't really enjoy doing all that work. And I had a lot of offers to do free speaking engagements that I was turning down, even though a part of me actually really wanted to do them and get the flight time on stage. So with a speak to sell model, being able to go and use speaking as a marketing vehicle, you can speak for free. And instead of getting paid up front, you actually get paid on the back end. So you can still get paid up front and you can still make money and offer products and services on the back end. Now, right away, speakers often get nervous when I talk about this model because they think that they're going to have to get up on stage and make pitches and be all salesy. And that is very far from the truth. I never make pitches from the stage. I am not salesy from the stage, but speaking is the thing that most drives my 7-figure speaking business. Speaking of that, and I don't tell you that to impress you, I tell you that because for 8.5 years, my business was not that lucrative at all. And everything switched when I switched from this model, the traditional speaker model, to this other model where I had products and services to sell on the back end. I call it your big back end. So as you're figuring out what kind of speaker you want to be and how you want to monetize speaking, I encourage you to look over here and think about ways that you can monetize speaking on the back end, and in particular, how you can create monthly recurring revenues that are stable through membership, through group coaching programs, through ongoing services and support. As a member of the $1 Million Speakers Group in the National Speakers Association, I can tell you that there are very few speakers in that group that have a traditional speaker model. And in fact, most of the speakers in that group have a non-traditional speaker model, meaning they're monetizing speaking on the back end, and speaking is just one revenue stream that generally drives all the other revenue streams. If you're interested in learning more about this, I have videos specifically about how to monetize speaking. One is how to create multiple streams of revenue. Another one is how do thought leaders make money. Another one is how to create a sustainable business model. And finally, how to build a lifestyle business. So highly recommend binge watching some of my episodes so that you can get clarity on how to start your speaking business so that it's sustainable and scalable. So if you liked what you heard here, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel because I have a whole bunch more videos coming just like this. And if you want to go even deeper and maybe even work with us and learn more about how we can support you and serve you, then go ahead and download my Monetize Your Magic playbook, and that will get you onto our mailing list, and you'll get all sorts of support and ideas and insights on how to generate income and impact. Enjoy.